What's up, everybody? We are here checking in with some weekly tarot tips.
And for a feel-good hangout with you guys to have some fun and stay sane and just kick it.
And hang.
Yep.
And do that thing. For those of you who are just getting to know us.
I'm Heather.
And I'm David.
From ZenRoseGarden.com.
Home of Zen Ed Academy. So we built Zen Rose Garden in 2008 to help people through some of the hardest traumas and emotional upsets of life. And we've been loving doing that.
So we're bringing you some feel good and support today. That's it.
Absolutely. Now we do have a quick offer at the end for those of you that want more.
As well as some free stuff for, just hanging out and to say thank you.
So stick around for all of that.
Yes.
And as you guys come on, let us know that you're here with a hashtag live tribe. Or if you're watching in the replay, give us a replay fam.
We do take our job as teachers, despite our shenanigans, very seriously, but to help you guys gain a solid sense of spiritual self-reliance so you can bounce back when you face plant on the sidewalk of life, right?
Absolutely. For those of you who already know how to play the emoji game, get ready. For everybody else, this is how it goes. Here's how to play. As we go through the tip of the day, you pick the emoji that you think fits that tip the best, drop it in the comments, and we are going to pick our favorite at the end and pull a card for the winner.
And now that we have a bigger monitor, I can actually see the emojis, because before David would just pick the winner, but now I can see your emojis, so I can play along.
We've been updating the studio, so we've been doing lighting, improving, all kinds of cool things.
I woke up this morning thinking about religion and I go nerdy with theology. I'm just a nerd crazy person for it. Understanding why we think about religion the way we do and theology and God and why we're so diverse. So I used to read a lot of Wallace Stegner in my theology studies.
And I want to clarify that we're talking more about religion in a spiritual context, in a construct, than any particular religion itself.
Which will become clear in a second. Used to read a lot of Wallace Stegner in my theology studies and on my quest to discover why people, once they become really entrenched in whatever religious system they are in, see everything else as either evil or untrue. Mm-hmm. Right? It's like, instead of just seeing everybody as having some qualities of religion or spiritual systems, they become really entrenched in it and they had to become very single focused. And Wallace Stegner said that a religion that doesn't believe that they are the only true religion is a weak religion. And I'm like, not really too sure about that statement, or something to that effect, he said. And he was speaking specifically of the Mormon religion, which is what his primary focus was as a historian. And by extension, any other religion that views themselves as the chosen people. You tend to get very, very elitist. And I had a really hard time with this exclusionary concept as a kid, while at the same time being told by the grownups that know better that God accepts everyone. And I was like, but that is once they accept the true religion and worship him the right way. And I was like, wait a minute. Okay, so God is this awesome evolved person, but he needs to be worshiped the right way. And I'm like, he sounds more like a narcissist. I didn't know the word for it back then when I was 5, but I was like, I think he's like just happy if our hearts are right. Right. So I had a hard time, and it was this cognitive dissonance. And I was wondering how intelligent people didn't see it, even as they were speaking it. So this is kind of what set me on my quest for this, why we become corrupt in our spiritual systems.
And here's the thing, when you're talking about the one true religion, the one true thing, we've always got to feel like we have chosen the best of the best, right? I mean, that's just a human desire to be a part of the best group, the best anything. We want the best. We strive for the best. So when we're out in the world and we're choosing a construct to believe in, that part inside of our mind has to believe that we have chosen the best. The problem comes when it excludes others, because others can also be the best for them.
Well, and to me, it's not so much about exclusion. I mean, that's one part of it, but it's about every person's path is right for them.
Exactly.
So that system might not be right for you. It might not be the best for you. Mm-hmm. But if, so my question was, why can't we just accept that everybody chooses the right system for them? Yeah. And that's how they get to their spiritual truth. Because the truth is, everyone's got their own spiritual system at the end of the day, if they self-actualize and know what they want. And but that's a topic for another day.
So as you study tarot, you're going to find several cards that ask these kinds of questions.
Right.
That refer to religious systems that started out as guiding lights, but later became wrapped up in the rules and the regulations, and then they forgot how to human. We're going to talk about some of those in a moment. But before we do, even though I believe that my particular system, my construct, my way of doing things is best for me. I don't put that on anybody else. I believe that other people have also found their best. And I think that's what Heather's talking about, is that opens up the opportunity for differences, for opportunities to expand our own growth, because my system for me works the best for me. And I'm really proud of my particular construct inside of my head because it works for me. But if I find something else out in the world that also works, I will integrate that instead of exclude it and push it out because it's different than my system. And I think that's where the biggest butting of heads happens, is when somebody says, well, I'm right and you're wrong. And that's the problem with any system that says I'm right and you're wrong. Then there's no opportunity for growth. It becomes a battle, and that's not healthy for anybody.
It's
right?
Positional. So
Exactly.
as you study tarot, you're going to find several cards that ask these questions,
Right.
and that refer to religious systems that started out as guiding lights, but later became wrapped up in the rules and the regulations, and they forgot how to human, right? So we are going to talk about some of those in a moment. So I am certainly only one in a long line of theologians that have challenged this paradigm, right? And it's kind of been a lifetime challenge. Joseph Campbell once made an observation that there may be a link between our unresolved codependent relationships with a parent. This is an interesting theory, right? Where there was not a reliable, safe structure within that parental system to grow and self-actualize. And so the desire to be in a religious group where there's a safe structure with rules and someone to answer to for approval in a positive way that you may not have gotten as a kid, and that was not provided by the parent, can seem really enticing to a person who is kind of stuck in that part of their journey. And this was a very interesting observation when I read that. And for some, I think it's true. At least for me personally, I see my own truth in that for me personally. Right? Because I lost the need for a religious system once I personally, like I said, I can't speak for everybody's path, once I personally overcame some obstacles to my own true independence.
Right. And many have thought about why our systems of self-improvement, like religion is designed to be or supposed to be, because that is what they essentially are, right? They are systems for improving yourself, for living a better life, for being a better human. Why they can eventually become corrupt when they start out with good intentions. Okay, so over time, they get dogmatic, they get rule-oriented instead of kind of the spirit of the law. They get caught up in the letter of the law instead of the spirit of the law, and it gets really, really, really laser-focused without the opportunity for expansion, like I was talking about earlier.
So I think the answer is easy once you kind of get all the data points around this topic. If you use a religious system or a spiritual system as a Band-Aid to cover up the pain that you have from a lack of whatever you didn't get.
And we're talking about any system here. We're talking about any system at all.
Not just religion, but new age systems, your book club, your drum circle, or your weekend plant medicine tea group, any sort of system that you're using to feel good. There's nothing wrong with feeling good with something as long as you're doing your shadow work, what we call your shadow work. But then eventually, if you're not doing that and you're just going to your feel good group or your religious system or whatever it is for you, insert system, eventually unresolved issues will at some point deflect onto other people in your group, and you will see contention in the commune. Right. And that's just what happens. And it's time and time again.
Right. So let us know in the comments if you understand what shadow work is, or if you have any questions around shadow work. We'd love to answer those. So for instance, if you get to the point where you aren't supposed to do it this way, you did this ritual wrong and now you're screwed, translates into daddy's going to be mad at you and I'm telling. Okay, see what I mean? That inner playful child is still terrified of doing something wrong because daddy's going to be mad.
So I told you I was going to nerd out on a little theological psychology and philosophy this morning. Warned you. So I want to talk about 3 cards specifically, just real quick in the tarot that sort of illustrate this. Now, back in the day, it was dangerous to talk about these kinds of topics. Why this whole philosophy we just threw at you,
Right.
that thinkers nowadays are allowed to think. You weren't really allowed to think it in the medieval times,
So
right?
let's be real though. Everybody's been thinking about it.
Yeah,
Nobody you couldn't speak it.
But you could draw pictures about it.
Right.
So,
and Sophie says, what is shadow work? And that's a great question. So shadow work is basically looking at the unresolved dark parts of yourself and resolving them.
Right.
And coming into the light, which is basically working through the unresolved issues and coming to a state of peace where you begin to create a cohesion internally, your light.
It's about facing fears,
Right.
looking at the places where you feel shame.
Any place that's hidden or dark inside.
And really, it's about looking at places where you've been shamed, which
Right.
is where other people have put their systems of belief onto you and then shamed you for not following that, whatever it is, whether
Right.
it's sexual shame or, religious shame or whatever. And that's a lot of what shadow work is centered around. Where light work is centered around, let's raise the vibration and let's do all this good and whatever. But you can only raise it so high if there's a mucky ball
in the bottom.
Ball of shame underneath. So that's
Yeah.
when you do shadow work.
And let's also clarify another term that you may hear out there called spiritual bypassing. And that's when you try to do too much of the light work without doing the shadow work.
Right.
Okay. So if you don't do the shadow work and you just go to the love and light, love and light, love and light, you're neglecting and ignoring the parts that really provide an opportunity for you becoming a better human being.
So I guess we're going to throw at you the difference between light workers and shadow workers. And you can be both a light worker and a shadow worker,
Right.
but they tend to fall into different categories in general.
Mhm.
Your average light worker might be your angelic fairy Reiki healer at your spiritual center. Your shadow worker might be someone who walks you through your underworld, like someone who does more shamanic work,
Right.
Deep soul retrieval, past life regression. Those are more shadow workers.
Right.
So they're both, the goal of both is
Yes.
the same thing, but different parts of the car have to be worked on, right?
Different applications. So Sophie, let us know if that makes sense to you and if that's kind of answered your questions. And again, if anybody else has any questions, drop them in the comments. So let's get into those 3 cards.
3 cards, and there are more, and I'm going to quickly show you a few that I pulled out, but 3 that I want to talk about are cautionary tales about these systems of self-improvement, aka religion, spiritual systems, and when they become corrupt. And these are little messages that were put into the cards over time by people that couldn't openly talk about corruption and dissension in the church and why it's not right, whatever that was.
And as we go through these cards, drop in the comments your emojis. We're still playing the emoji game. Drop in your comments the emojis that fit best, and we will pick our winner momentarily. So the first card today is
the
Hierophant in reverse.
And I also want to stress there's a whole school out there that doesn't read tarot reversals. And I think that's a total shame because some of these messages are in the reversals. So this is why learning reversals the right way is so important, not just some general rule about reversals, but the right way. So the obvious one is the Hierophant in reverse. Maybe not so obvious if you're new to the tarot, but the Hierophant is typically the Pope right side up. I mean, it's a teacher. It's a spiritual religious teacher, not the church itself, but a human teacher of the teachings of the church or the whatever system. When it is turned upside down, that system has become dogmatic and rule oriented. And no, this is the way we do it. I don't care if your heart is right. You broke this rule. You're going to be stoned, in the square.
In the public.
Right. So that's the Hierophant in reverse. So it speaks to that in a very subtle way. Another one is the Hanged Man in reverse. That's right side up.
You handed it to me that way.
I know, but the hanged man looks
the Hangman's
like
a funny one. When it's in reverse, it looks upright.
Right. So in reverse, the Hanged Man speaks about your spiritual awakening and your mystic journey, your mystic death. But upside down, it refers to you're kind of going along with the crowd. You're not thinking for yourself. You're one of the sheeple. You're following the rules. You're standing in line. So you've got the reverse Hierophant who's like doling out the rules. And then you've got the reverse Hangman who's following the rules no matter what, because that's what Daddy says we do. Yeah.
And upright, by the way, is the Hangman basically looking at things in a different perspective, not feeling punished, but feeling contemplative and looking at things in like, oh, interesting, interesting. And Sophie says, yes, thank you. Are there people who guide you in shadow work?
Yes, and
absolutely.
David will probably reach out to you because we have a whole group that works on that.
Yeah, we'll talk about that in a moment. That's a part of what we do in our Zen Ed Academy. I'll talk to you about that in a moment.
It's a big part of what we do. So the third card that stood out to me this morning when I woke up is the reverse Temperance card, which we just gave a masterclass on last week in Zen Ed Academy, our school. Right. So reverse Temperance, upright Temperance is about balance. Okay. In a nutshell, and everybody being happy and accommodation for all parties involved. That's a very simple explanation for it. But in reverse, it can speak to an out of balance spiritual system or religious system that is way too far on the male patriarchal side, like very, very male oriented and women are diminished, or very, very, very female oriented and men aren't allowed in the goddess temple, right? So that it can be where there's a masculine, feminine imbalance within a spiritual system. So those are three that I thought would be fun to show you this morning as little hidden messages that have been put in the tarot over the last, and specifically in the Middle Ages, about speaking out against corruption in the spiritual system that's supposed to help people improve their lives.
And this is also, once again, why learning reversals in tarot, because tarot has as a language, and learning reversals is so important, because if you don't necessarily know the other side, the flip side, the reversed side, you don't necessarily know the entire language.
Right. It's like not learning antonyms when you're learning how to speak and just learning
or not
synonyms.
Learning swear words.
Yes.
Because some of them are.
Okay, so I'm gonna quickly. I was sitting here setting up this morning. I was like, oh, here's more. So there's a lot. So, but I'm just gonna flip through these. Reverse judgment. Okay, reverse judgment. Okay, that's about judging unwisely, basically. The reverse hermit is about, it can be about a false prophet who is like leading people astray instead of someone who follows his truth. The reverse high priestess can be a corrupt channeler, a false person who is bringing forth, false, corrupt, self-serving knowledge.
Or his subconscious that hasn't been cleared.
Right. You're channeling aliens that are really part of your subconscious corrupt mind or something. Yeah. And the reverse Ace of Cups is also about the holy table turned upside down. It's about all holy things have become corrupt. The Star in reverse is about misinterpreting one of the reasons. The Star is very deep. Misinterpreting or not being able to accept wisdom from heaven and corrupting it through your own trauma and pain.
Or divine messages, etc.
And the last is, and this one can be upside down or in reverse. The Tower can be a very not so subtle nod to a corrupt church. It's got the Pope's hat on the top, or the Emperor, and it's just kind of talking about religion gone terribly wrong. And the Tower in either way can do that. The Tower in your life in a personal meaning is about change, but it has definite meanings that refer to religion. So that's just a quick lowdown on some of those hidden messages that I think commonly aren't known.
Yep. All right, go ahead and drop your emojis in the comments and we'll pick a winner here in just a moment.
I just lost my own train of thought and you didn't even interrupt
I didn't even do it this time.
It wasn't even your fault. I lose my train of thought so easily on my own because I'm Gemini as AF. That's redundant. When Capricorn derails me, I'm just like, I don't need any extra help.
All right. So our winner today, did you have your train?
I have my train. So here's a little thing to leave you with and why this is so important, because when you get a card like this in your spread, it's an opportunity to self-actualize and get back on your track, right? To right your train, to get it back moving in the right direction. So when corruption happens in a system or in a group even, and when there's dissension and there's, unrest in a group when there's not supposed to be, if it's not corrected by the tribe, or led in the right direction and it just continues to unravel, it becomes a virus. Well, it becomes a chance for you to self-actualize, to see under the seams and see the code in the matrix and go, oh, it's a wake-up call for me to release some codependence and become more independent.
Right.
That's what I would say.
So today's winner is Sophie.
Okay.
Sophie with these little Teletubbies.
So I'm going to pull a card. I shuffled already right before the live. So I'm going to give you 2 cards because when I pull a reversal, I like to pull a qualifying card.
Sophie, this is for you, and let us know in the comments if it makes sense. As we go through this, we'll also be pulling a clarifier card.
Okay, so this is the 6 of Wands, which is in the upright position, a really joyful card because it means you've conquered, you've defeated the enemy at the gate. All your homies are with you with their wands.
At least
that are blooming, and you are the conquering hero coming into the village, right, to receive your prize or whatever it is you want.
However, in reverse.
However, in reverse, what it is telling you is that you still have, it sounds very strong, but an enemy at the gate. So you still have to watch your boundaries. You still have to watch for someone who may not mean the best for you. It doesn't mean they're going to come in and attack you literally, but it does mean that they might not have your best interest in mind. So you may want to put some boundaries up between you and that person because they're jealous, don't want you to succeed, are jealous of your success, whatever it is. So your challenge is to put up better boundaries. So this might have to do with something with your shadow work. It could have to do with maybe not a physical enemy at the gate or the enemy at the gate that is within your mind.
Right.
Very often it is a shadow.
Right.
And even if it is a person, we're giving them way too much of our power.
Mainly because of the issues that we have that are unresolved.
So I pulled a qualifying card, which is the Star upright. Okay, which is the message of the action. Usually I get a reversal. I want to qualify fire because I want to see what your action is to correct the reversal. Not all reversals are bad or negative. Some reversals are really good. So the Star in the upright position, your action is telling you, the action is telling you to bring to the table a more open mind, a bigger vessel, so that you can receive the knowledge and the wisdom that is pouring down continually to you from above. The Star is always shining on you. The stars are always shining on you. The sun is always shining on you, but sometimes your windows are closed. Right. So it's about going out and bringing a bigger rain bucket instead of just a thimble to receive what is there for you to receive.
Right. So the Star card basically means that the universe is providing for you. You just have to open up to receive. So everything that you need is available to you. You just have to open up to receive. So we do want to take a quick moment to tell you about that offer to join our online community where our Zen heads hang out and where we, as of a couple years ago, teach all of our courses, including our comprehensive tarot course. And all of you Zen heads, drop in the comments, let people know what they can expect when they come in so that they have a better idea from you guys.
Zen Ed Academy was this crazy idea that grew from our love of teaching workshops in Las Vegas, where we live, since 2008. We wanted to go bigger, and so we created something online and global. So Zen Ed Academy is a totally different kind of healing center that fits in the palm of your hand.
And it didn't just happen overnight. We've been putting all of our dedication, our education, our experience, and our good mojo into creating a safe space that delivers what has been missing from the spiritual industry for decades. We couldn't find it out there, so we created it.
Definitely. Without the fluff, the nonsense, the unicorn farts, the bullshit that some of us can do without. With well-researched information, not just the same copy and paste stuff that is everywhere you search.
And if you want in, we made it easy to access not just one class, but we have over 21 and growing, seriously deep PhD-backed courses. Some of those are only available to our Zen Ed members to binge on to your heart's content.
Plus all the lifetime replays.
Be sure to check that out in the description. Since you guys have watched this far, we appreciate that. Check out the goodies we got for you. There's a link in the description below if you like this video.
Hit the like button.
Hit it hard. If you want to see more videos like this,
be sure to subscribe.
And spank that naughty bell to turn notifications on.
So you're the first to know
when we drop a new video.
Or go live.
And we know that time is a valuable and a precious resource. And the fact that you guys have spent that with us, we honor and appreciate that. But most importantly, that you are here to level up your life, your skills, your mind, and take everything to a whole new level. We honor and appreciate that even more. Thank you guys for watching. We'll see you in the next video, and be sure to check out these ones. We're here and over here, somewhere over here. They might be over here, or it might be over here.
Oh my gosh.
Anyway, thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.
See you later.